Well, welcome to By George, and today we're looking at the MG HS Hybrid, and it's a plug-in hybrid, and that's important because that's the way you can charge it and get the most out of the system. This car runs a 1.5 turbocharged engine and a 90 kilowatt electric motor. They run through a 10-speed gearbox. Basically you get 6 speeds for the petrol motor and 4 speeds for the electric motor, and that means that you can run the electric motor up to quite high speeds, which a lot of the MG's competition can't do. It's also a good looking car. Let's have a look around. One of the other little features I quite like, if you take the car, if the car's out about and gets dirty on a road or something, this sill on the side completely covers the side of your sill. The inner sill doesn't get dirty, which means when you get in, you don't get your skirt or your trousers dirty. And that's the kind of thing you used to only see on Range Rovers, and now it's a good point, and it's well engineered by MG. Also got a lovely strike panel here, which is an improvement on the previous model. The MG HS now has an electric boot opener, and the height is adjustable too, so you can control that. The car is 4.5 metres long. The boot capacity, as you see it here, with the blind in place and what have you, is 45 litres. If you fold down the back seats, you get a total of 1,275 litres. And by the time you fold down those back seats, which lock into place when they're down, there's enough room. You can get 2 mountain bikes in there, no trouble at all. And of course, you've got the convenience of the boot closes itself. You get a very nice flat load surface here. It's completely flat, nice and easy to get into. This is the hybrid, so it doesn't have quite as much room in the boot as the non-hybrid, because you get your MG fast charging device in here, your cable and everything. You don't get a spare wheel, but you get the other safety equipment and a squirter can to do the tyre if you get a flat for emergency. And the normal 12-volt battery lives down here too. So that's all neat and tidy. It's quite a long cable on this one, and I think it needs to be, and I'll tell you why. Okay, this is the charger that comes with the car. It's the normal 240-volt charger. It simply plugs into the rear of the car here. And that's the thing that I find interesting. On the MG EV, the normal one, the charger's ports down the front. This one's on the back. There's some advantages there. It's safer, it's more out of the way, and it's opposite the fuel filler. But the cable has to run along the length of the car, which could be a trip hazard. Maybe, maybe not. It's a different way of doing things. So as long as you can get the charger point, especially from the fast charger that you go to, the public ones, it's got to come from the front of the car to the back of the car, or you've got to back in. So which way is better? I'm undecided, but it's a neat and tidy way of doing things. Okay, this is the back seat. Now, several things come to notice. You've got a decent wide entrance, easy to get in. When you're in here, you've got plenty of headroom. The other thing I like is the seats. When they fold down to place, they lock into place. Good safety there, and you know, MG is famous for safety fast. The seats then come up. You can have them leaning quite forward. There's about 3 different positions, but you can lean the whole seat right back, which does give the rear passenger a bit of option on how they sit. The armrest in the middle, which this one's got a beauty of, it's got a nicely lined flocked cubby hole there for your passengers' cell phones, and a beautifully weighted drinks holder. You couldn't get a nicer interior if you tried. And this car's the top of the range with the sunroof too, which I adore. So you've got room for 3 people, or a ton of room for 2 people. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go! And we've caught up to the traffic already. The acceleration, when you just drive it briskly, is very impressive. It certainly doesn't have any problems with hills or passing people or anything like that. even just in electric, it goes extremely well. And when you need to, it adds the petrol. 1.5 turbo, as I said, and she really does get up and go. But normally, if you're just running an electric, you get near silent driving at reasonable speeds. This has got a three-level regen system, so if you're going down hills or braking, the batteries will recharge off the generator. It's a very efficient way of driving. It's the same as the EV, but with 52 kilometers of range, as I say, it's plug-in, so you can plug it in at home, fully charge it, and you get that efficiency. That's how they get those magic 100k, so many litres per 100 k's, which sounds really good because you've done 52 k's on electric. So, if you've done 100 k's, you've only done, 48 k's on petrol. So you get very efficient use of it. General road manners, excellent. As I said, the slight roll on initial turn in, but that makes it the comfortable car that it is, and that's what you want on this sort of car. You can throw it around the corners, and the steering's very good. It's good. It's a good, solid feeling steering. So it makes for an excellent driving experience in the great MG tradition, I must say. The brakes are superb. It's got all the modern safety features on brakes, ABS, all that sort of thing. Four-wheel discs, obviously. We've got a lovely country road here to enjoy, so we'll take it quietly along here. As I say, I love the sunroof. It makes the whole cockpit of any car lighter and nicer. Especially if you're in the back, you've got sunlight and a bit of a view out the top as well. If you're familiar with the MG range now, this screen will be familiar to you. It gives you your temperature control for your air conditioning. And by the way, the air conditioning on this one is dual, so you can have a different temperature on one side to the other, which is very useful if your girlfriend's got cold feet. Oh, I'm in trouble again. All this material is beautifully made. It's nice and squishy material. Good ventilation out of the middle. If you're driving, you can use these manual controls down the bottom here. So they all take you to the home screen and all that sort of thing. And you can turn the heater up and down and demister off and all that sort of thing. Under this rather nice aluminium finish, you get 2 ports and your 12-volt outlet. The main gear lever here, hazard light here, you've got an EV only mode there, and you've got a button for your 360-degree camera, and you can also open the boot from in here. The 360-degree camera is something you didn't used to get on anything else but expensive cars, but it is really quite useful. It does allow you to see what's around you, and it just stops you from knocking into things that you might not be able to see out of the corner of your eye. It's an excellent feature. It's a 10-inch screen. It's quite big enough. It's a good size. It's not in your way. The height of it isn't in your way. You come back to your normal controls, which are all digital now on a 12-inch screen. Gives you battery use and all sorts of other functions that you can see there. It's really very good. The steering wheel is a lovely size. It's not too big, it's not too small, and it gives you all the other various controls you want for your cell phone and your speaker volume for the radio. All in all, it's a very pleasant place to be. The finish and fit on these cars is way above their price range. It's very high specy. And if you look at the seats on these things, they're both leatherette and suede on the outside. It's just, it's a glorious place to sit, quite frankly. Stop. $50, $60, $70, $80, $90, $100. I think we had a bit of wheel spin there too. Certainly the traction control sort of seemed to cut in. So she's a very quick little car, this. Well, I shouldn't say little, it's a good size medium car. Good economy, good power, good comfort. Hey, what more do you want? And it's a great price. 5-star crash rating too, did I mention that? Try to avoid doing that. Cameraman Andrew, and we've now been driving around in the HS for half a day. It's been a very pleasant experience. The car goes very nicely. When you give it the proverbial bootful, it certainly does take off, especially for a big vehicle. You don't notice the weight of the batteries or anything. All in all, Andrew, I think it's quite a pleasant experience.
I have to agree with you, George. The question that I suppose most people would want answering is the $64,000 question. Is this, or is this not, the best of all worlds? To my mind, as a ZST driver, as indeed you are, I've been hugely impressed with this vehicle. We've been out for half a day. Most of the time we've been running on electric only.
Yeah.
And I think that really is the key. You pointed out the vehicle only does 52 kilometers on electric. So if most of your driving is around town, this will clearly do the job, but it has the capacity to do the long journey as well. So from my perspective, it is the ultimate vehicle if you do both short and long journeys.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're just doing short journeys, if you're just driving to the train station or the school or the shops or something, perhaps the MG straight EV, which is all electric, would be better for you. The other way around, of course, is if you're just doing long trips at the weekend or use a car for lots of trips, you know, long distances, the normal petrol one's probably better.
I think there's another point that I would add, and it's related to the boot. It's rather nice having a touch button to open and to close the boot, but most importantly, as George pointed out earlier on, there's a lot of electronic stuff underneath the boot floor which reduces the size of the boot. However, I'm very confident that you could get 2 Samsonite suitcases side by side in the boot, so yes, it has the capacity as well. For me, I think it's a very sensible option, particularly as we have occasional trips north where we need to travel 400, 500, 600 kilometers.
There's also lots of detail that we haven't covered here in the video because we'll be all day. For example, the hatch, you can adjust the height at which it opens, so if it's going to hit your garage door you can set it so it's a little bit lower. And there's just a raft full of electronic goodies and features that are in the machine that we just haven't got time to show you today. But we've certainly enjoyed our afternoon out in the HS.
Absolutely, and thank you for bringing me with you.
You're welcome.